Thione, first of all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you here, for me to sit right here next to you. I'm sure when my mother sees this, she will say, this is my daughter. So thank you very much. So my question for you would be, we know that you've lived in the United States for close to 20 years. We know that as a young African, the journey, leaving home and coming to the US, the cultural differences, sometimes the loneliness, other than just hardships, is a lot. You come here, you spend about 20 years here. I'm sure you achieved a certain level of comfort in this country that welcomed you. So after you have gone through all of this and you have achieved this comfort, what made you leave the USA and go back home? Not just to live comfortably in a high rise, but go back home, go to the farm. The other question would be, in the next 5 years, what would be the one thing that Africans would be challenged with and that they should focus on?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I thank you for making the effort to remind us of where we come from. Please give her a round of applause for such a great job for that. If you can let me just begin to congratulate the organizers of this amazing gathering here in New York City, to Ayu and his partners, and my brother here. Please, the two of them, you should stand up. We need to really thank you for bringing us together, bro. Please stand. Give them a round of applause, please, thank you for everything you've done, brother. Kemo, thank you. You've done this kind of work for a long time, since I met you in Paris in 2010. When I just left the US to come to work in France a little bit. And to see you continuing that work, it shows a certain level of commitment to our cause, our common cause. And that's why I'm extremely pleased to see you working with my brother, Ayu, and all the work they're doing with your partners. And here in the United States to push our common agenda forward, which is to help create an Africa we dream about. So thank you for the work that you do. Well, to answer your question, most of us that are sitting here who left home, we have similar journeys. We don't leave home for us. We live not only for us, but we live for our families. We live for our mothers, for our fathers. We live for everything we have. For many of us, we come here, in my case, in the case of the majority of us here, it's what I say in Wolof, to faj gatche, which means we coming to bring dignity and honor to our families. And that takes a lot of sacrifices. And many of these sacrifices, our people at home don't see. Because I remember the first day and most of you will remember this too, when I was leaving Senegal. And the first time I got in an airplane, at the time we have Air Afrique. And it took me a while to get that flight, but when I got into it, all I wanted is leave home. That was my entire dream. That's why I can understand young people at home now trying to go, even it takes sometimes to sacrifice their lives. I remember the flight taking off. After 22 years of me in this country where I was born, And when he's leaving and I'm looking at the window and Dakar is getting away from me slowly, and I can see it slowly, and the moment I don't see it and I start crying, because this is a country that I love. And that's all I knew. And I could realize now that I'm leaving the smell I grew up smelling, the people I love, my language, my food, my culture, but most importantly, the people that put all their hope in me to bring dignity in the family. And that there, I remembered from that day that I'm not going there to stay. In Wolof we say, Jom moy tukki waye fulla moy ñibisi. Loolu lañ wax. Each one of us here, Senegalese, know deep in your heart and your soul that you want to go back home and build your country. Each one of us here, Africans, if we had what we wanted, we wouldn't be here. I know. Because you got the same drive and the same burning desire inside of you to replicate what you've seen here at home, or even better. So to respond to your question, to say that I've done anything special. I'm saying, what I've done is what's supposed to be done. I came to look for something to help my family. Along the way, God has given me even more than I expected, alhamdulillah. I've gained experience. I've seen exactly what I want my country to be. And I have the possibility to travel the world. Alhamdulillah, I've seen more. Then I say, okay, what is enough? When I started traveling the villages in Africa with Akon, I remember that one day we were in Kai in Mali, very far from Bamako. In this very village that's very dark. And it's the first time these villages, they've seen electricity. And when we electrified it, everybody was crying, even the older people. Then I said to myself that night, actually that trip changed my life. From Dakar to Kenya, every village we went, it took something out of me. Because when we finished, we were with Momo, Basiru, all these young people. We traveled around Africa. We did Akon Lighting Africa. Then I come to Dakar, I pack again, I come to Washington. Then I continue to work like everything is good. But that trip, when I came back, then there's something else happened. I slept and I couldn't sleep for 2 days. Because there's something was telling me, you cannot continue to live here in comfort while you know you can do something at home to help better the lives of your people for the rest of your life. Because to me, it's the day we are born and the day we get out of here. Now it's this, and what you do is what's in the space. Everything you add in there is what's going to remain here when you leave. To me, because the time is clocking, what should I do to make sure my life means something to my people? And then I had to answer the question. It's time to go home. I started packing my bags and just went back home. So this is the reality. But before I went home, I did something very special too. I looked at the map in my country and I said, I studied a lot about what's going on at home. Where can I be of help? Of where I am and what can I do in my own position? And I saw what our people need the most is training. We've got to change the mindset of our people. We've got to train them. They have to have skills. Because it's all about dignity. If people get jobs, they ain't going to kill themselves trying to go anywhere. So I say, you got to give them skills. I went into formation, training, skills training. The first thing I did is I opened up an office called Give One Project, which I started it in 34 countries. Senegal was the third one. When I came in Gora Almadi, I did an office, 3-building office, and I did incubations. That's why I'm so proud today when I see all these kids that you see doing this work here. Alhamdulillah. Because in 2012, 13, I said to them, Momo, Bas, all them kids there you see in the cameras, the world is going technology. I opened up inside the office. Hey, you've been there. Yeah, I remember you came to speak to them. I just said, you guys got to learn about technology. Photography, videography, whatever's technology. I opened up a Give One Project tech lab inside there. And there was a incubation center. There was a Give One Talks. There was a women training center inside. And there is a tailoring. I bought a lot of machines so the young people learn about how to tailor our clothes. And I built a studio for the young music artists, because the arts is very important. And a lot of the young artists came there to record. I brought young Americans to teach about the music. I brought young Americans to teach them about English. And I went to France. I brought David Manford, a great photographer and videographer, to teach those young people you see in the back. And I paid him to stay for 8 months to teach them photography, videography. Today, these big companies that you see, GIS and BN Studio, are doing amazing work around the world. And I can be very proud to see their success. This is the reason why I went home. You know, and you know, there's nothing special. Going back home is normal to us. To your second question, we'll come back to it later, because I want this to be a dialogue for us to talk to each other. You know, because I know that some of you that traveled to come here have something to share. And you want us to have that dialogue. That's why I didn't decide to go there to talk to you. The mic will come to you, we can talk to each other. The second question of where Africa is going in 5 years, I think is a lifetime for us. But just in a few years from now, we're in 2023. In 27 years from now, 2050, is predicted for Africa to be 2.5 billion people. That means that a quarter of the world will be Africans, 25% of the world. Now, what does that mean to us? When you have population growth, you have a lot of challenges that you got to deal with. This means we have to feed these people. We have to house them. We have to build the infrastructure. If we don't build the right infrastructure, what's going to happen is worse than what we have in Dakar. We build cities on top of cities without the right urban development. You can stay in Dakar today or Abidjan, you only have one meeting. You jóge Sénégal xam nga lu may wax toujours mën nga def 8 heures ci temps ci trafic bi. 8 hours you can spend it in traffic in Dakar because the urban development is not well planned. Now all these people, you have to plan where you're going to house them. That, when you're saying building infrastructure and building the food system and building hospitals, building schools and building everything that humans need to live like they've done here, it means also there's opportunities. Because somebody got to build it. And actually, we are already in that construction. Africa is under construction. Senegal is under construction. But if you look at the spectrum of what's being built in Senegal, it's not being built by Senegalese. The core of our economy is not controlled by Senegalese. And this is a big problem for all of us. Ça nous interpelle. Because we cannot, in our own home, have somebody to own everything, that we become the employees in our own home. I can understand when we're in the US or France and everywhere. But we cannot afford, you know what I'm saying? Our telecom is somebody else doing that. That's the most sensitive area of investment that we should have protected. That we should have invested on some good Senegalese who knows the area. I know there's a very smart Senegalese who can do it. And the government should have been behind to give them the power to invest in it. Because it's our data. How can you imagine the Chinese come here and control the telecom and T-Mobile or AT&T? It ain't gonna happen. Or one Senegalese from Kaolack come and control this thing here. Or you go to France, there's Mohammed or whatever, from Morocco, from Algeria, control the telecom. This is not gonna happen. That's one problem. But look at our natural resources. We are one of the richest people in the world because all the 30% of natural resources in the world, my sister, is in Africa. That's why when I hear these terms in the UN and stuff, they're calling us the third world countries or the underdeveloped countries and etc. You know what I'm saying? And we believe it. We are not poor. We are very wealthy. But we don't know how to utilize our natural resources. So you see the states today in Senegal, you go to the north of the country in St. Louis, you go in the ocean, couple of kilometers down, BP is there in Cosmos. Total just arrived, but they're there a long time. They're about to sell, but they're there too. The entire world is there digging and preparing to sell our own gas and oil. Our zircon is being transported every day, passing those Jogo, those poor villages around my farms, from Jogo to Lompul all the way down to Ngai Mehe, etc. Train bi dañu romb quoi, you know, we see yaakaar ne train bi ay, you know, néegi ñax ay keccax ci nekk wala yooyu. But in that zircon is billions of dollars that they're sending to Europe. The French own 90%, we own 10%. So these are the people who are building our countries. The gold, you see what's happening in Kédougou and etc. I've been there to see not even one village that can have electricity. But then billions of dollars are being left every day from Kédougou to be taken outside. And again, it's somebody else building that. It even go further now. Like, look at our farming system. Me around my farms now, all of the land is being bought by the Italians, Spanish, and the Chinese and the Indians. While you over sitting here, they don't buy 10 hectares, 100, 200 hectares. Titre foncier. For foreigners. Titre foncier. And then they do farming, they process it to India again, and bring it back and sell it to us. Our roads, our transportation system, our highways, our airport. The other day I was in the airport, and I went to this place where we eat, you know, the salon. And I was telling the girls that I'm getting fonde. They laughing at me like I'm crazy. I was asking them about fonde for Senegalese. They laughing because it's got to be some Falen or some Janyan here. They love fonde. You know, fonde is like, we eat it in the morning. It's the meal. It should be normal. If you come to America, you ask for a burger, nobody gonna laugh at you. You go to Morocco, you ask for atay or couscous, it's normal. You see how messed up we are? They say, oh, no, we don't have fonde. I say, you have mahalou salum. They're like, come on, man, stop joking with us. But they have turkey sandwiches in my airport. And then we have kinkeliba. Kinkeliba, tu vas au nord du pays, not even nord, you go over Bambey Serer. It's free. It's on the roads. Free. Naturally. It's kinkeliba everywhere. We have Lipton in my airport. The green tea comes from China, where we have natural tea. So they're making fun of me, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, this is very sad for us. And you see the managers in the airport, people who control our airport, your airport, is the Turkish. Can you believe you build your own airport? By the way, most foreigners build it for you. Can you believe the Turkish build the airport in one of their towns? And say, okay, we're going to go and see Fatah El Presidente with his friends from Senegal to come and run the airport for us. Imagine that. Like, that means 17 million Senegalese, there's not one of us who can run an airport. And when they run the airport, they bring in their own food in the airport. And then paying our people something like $100, $200 a month. And keeping them in that kind of dependency that you cannot even. One guy was telling me the other day at the airport, he said, "Grand, ñaanal ñu génn dëkk bi fii bëggatuñu fi dara quoi." Ma ne ko naka liggéey bi fii mu ne ma boy grand fii ay 100 000 150 000 lañ lay fay. On te donne 150 000 francs, 200 dollars. $250 le mois. Et tu transportes aller-retour. Et beau cassé, dès que tu parles, as soon as you say, they fire you. There is no syndicat, nothing, no unions, nothing for them. And there's no government to protect their rights. But the Turkish guy behind the desk is making thousands of dollars a year in my own country, though. This is what frustrates me, man. And I know that it frustrates all of us. Now the question is, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because our country is being built by somebody else. Our children don't have no hope, no quality of life. Imagine with 100 000 francs, how are you going to survive? That's how many people say, yeah, in Senegal, everybody you talk to, they're going to take your money. Of course they will. You're trying to survive. It's about dignity. We got to work to change that. And with all these challenges, my sister, this is why I decided to come and do what I can in my own capacity. And then I would like to develop, to talk about it more with you guys. We can open it to questions. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Well, Thione, once again, thank you. It was not a speech. It was really, you went deep into our hearts and all the way up to our brain to open our eyes to maybe aspects of our lives that we don't think about. Because sometimes once you have left home, you're here, you're comfortable, you get used to this lifestyle, this fast-paced lifestyle. It is sometimes easy to forget where we come from. So thank you for reminding us that Mother Home is still there. So guys, as I said, I hope you guys have your questions ready. So who wants to go first?
Yes, from there.
There you go. Please, the mic.
Got a mic? All right.
Hi, my name is Sheikh Kamara. I grew up in Cleveland like you.
Mashallah.
Back in the 2000 also.
The Cavs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess my question is this. We know Senegalese people, we are very smart. We have all the skill sets in the world. Most of the guys here are more technical guys, and they're capable of doing a lot of work outside of Senegal. For example, for us, they can hold certain position in certain countries and able where the white man or whatever the foreigners can trust us with those type of position and do all the work. How is it so hard for us to get those type of position or those type of project, like you said, in Turkey, where when we go to Germany, we can do all those projects for Europeans and all that stuff. How can we break that? Where when we come to Senegal, they can give us those type of projects. How can we implement that in the future?
Thank you very much, Shah. Appreciate it. It's a great question because it's the question that we're all wondering. Most of us who decided to go home at some point had to deal with that frustration. But before we talk about going home, let's look at the reverse. Why is it that Turkish or Chinese or Americans or any other country that come, it's fine, they need to come to our countries as we are in their countries. I'm a Democrat. I believe in, the global economy is an opportunity for everybody. But the problem is our leadership don't understand it as the other people do. In the United States, when the president travels to another country for a state visit, there's another 2 or 3 airplanes that puts in literally 800 business people. And they select them. They look at each sector that the United States needs to expand globally because we have a huge trade deficit to close the gap on. So the more we create businesses overseas, the better it is for the country. US is too far. Let's talk to our neighbors. When the king of Morocco or the president of Rwanda travels, they invite many of their business people to come. And they push for their business people, Sheikh, to find contracts. Why is it all of a sudden in Senegal you just see all of these Turkish business people like in the whole market, from agriculture to real estate, controlling everything? Because when Erdogan came to Senegal a few years ago, he did the same thing that all the countries that understand trade did. He brought in a lot of investors from Turkey. And when he came, they planned it to, okay, real estate market is going to be booming here. There's a new middle class coming back home, like us. And when we go home, we want to live like we live in America. So we need quality of buildings that we can live. You don't want a mason in the quartier that you can bring and you're going to just do something that does like this. But you want something high level. We have some investors here that's doing that from Senegal, like that brother. Now, what is that going to do is that when they push for the business people to have market, a part of the market in the country, the airport, real estate, now agriculture, and etc., it makes them stronger back home. And we can talk about the geopolitical part later on why everybody's playing in Africa. They're fighting there. But us, when the president travels, he's himself. Have you ever seen any of our presidents travel with somebody else? It's unfortunate. We had a president, for example, who was president of the country and at the same time president of the African Union. You got both. But then you take the prime minister out, you're only the one who want to run the country by yourself, and you have not seen one Senegalese, one, that President Macky Sall was able to appoint, to even be an advisor or something about the African Union. Nothing. It was an opportunity to bring more Senegalese to the international scene. Like this UN thing happening, Senegalese should have been here fighting to get businesses here, pushed by the president. It's the opposite. You come down there trying to do business, the politicians are going to try to kill your business. I lived it, bro. You know. He's been a young lawyer doing crazy things in Canada. Come home trying to build businesses. Yeah, they look at him like pest. Everybody run away from him. We all doing with the same problems. Now, how are we going to change that is the question. It's about leadership, the change of power. Oh, we all know the problems. We can talk about it all day. But the bottom line is, until each one of us say, you know, somebody got to make the sacrifice. And each one of us has to be a part of that sacrifice. It's got to be a we, not me. Sitting over here watching what's going on at home ain't going to change nothing. You can be comfortable here, which is fine. Take care of your families, make your money. But when you come home, you're going to be the same thing, running after them for meetings. And once they see that you have too much qualities, they're going to kill whatever you're trying to build. And no matter what you have here, your heart is at home. Sometimes I ask myself the questions. Sometimes I'm in doubts, in deep doubts too. You know, sometimes I'll be like, God damn, man. What am I doing over here, man? Excuse me, but boy. Sometimes I'll be looking at myself in the mirror, man, what you doing in this village, man? And you go to Dakar with all that chaos, cars, beep, nobody, everybody, nowhere to walk, nobody to bike. You be like, what am I doing over here? You can see Salam. You know what I'm saying? That's our brother from Seneweb, the owner. Give him a round of applause. He changed online news for our country. A visionary. Good to see you, brother. I just saw you. I didn't recognize you. He's so humble. When he started Seneweb, nobody was thinking about online. And so we are very proud. A lot of young people working for him also decided to go home. with all he could have here. You see, what I'm talking about is nothing new, eh? Because if we don't organize, if we don't put our forces together, because we're strong enough to reverse it, because those guys over there, they ain't sitting on nothing. But the problem is most of us don't want to get involved. It's starting from me. And Sheikh, to respond to that question, it's all about what we do from here. Because America wasn't like this before. Some people had to wake up, organize, and challenge the status quo. And any country that's been where they are, that's what they had to do. So for Senegal, if we don't do that, we're going to continue to have the same problems. And we can talk about it more, I'm sure, with questions. Thank you very much for that question. There's more.
Yes, so we have 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes? I thought we were just beginning.
It's not you don't answer questions simply.
Okay, I'm gonna keep. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep it short, but we need more time.
Yes.
This is very important for us.
We are all hungry for knowledge.
You guys don't agree?
Yes.
Yes. It goes. Salami is there, the brother's there, and then we come this side.
Oh,
At least give us 30 minutes.
Okay. The gentleman has a mic, and
Thank
then.
No, but Salam has something too. So I think we're going to keep it here for a minute.
That's fine. After we come back.
You pointed us out, during your speech. So we're going.
All right.
We're going to respond. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. I mean, I know you, and we built a lot of great things back home. When we moved back, I moved back to Senegal 9 years ago. And I remember, as you mentioned, the offices in Gore and Momo and all of them starting over there. Some of the folks that came from France, found you over there. You gave them leadership, man. You actually taught them how to work. And congratulations for that. And I think everyone needs to applaud that, On what you mentioned earlier, leadership starts at home. We cannot blame people, coming in our economies, to actually invest and then make money for their home. Exactly. The real leadership starts at home. And until we, as a community, are able to join hands, and this is the importance of events like these, right? Where you can actually have talent in a room, sitting around, connecting, creating networks, and then building value. Until we build value and we're able to actually make something out of that value, capital, runs the world. There's nothing that's going to change that. You mentioned when I came from Canada as a lawyer, I moved to Senegal. I invested, employed 50 more people in the creative industries, garments. I think I'm the first one to actually have started a brand in Senegal, and ran it for years, made millions. But what did the state do? That's true, And I have to say this. We have to fight against fiscal barriers or a taxation system that penalizes people. Because when you create value, this is what Rwanda did. Lady yesterday, Claire, talked about it. We are opening our country so people can come and invest. And when they invest, we give them incentives to actually do so. Until we understand that, and we actually don't weaponize the taxation system. Because if you create value, you're employing people. I employ more than 50 people. And the state comes and says, well, you owe us $100,000 out of nowhere. What does that do for morale? We, with Abdul, created WOW Telecom, you know that. Ran it for years. In the telecom industry, you talked about it. We did it. What happened? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we here have an opportunity to build something big, and we need to do something out of it. I'm talking out of passion. We need to sit down. At the end of this summit, it can't just be a vacation. We can't be going back home. You said it yesterday. Going back home saying, well, you know what, we were in New York, we're chilling. No, we need to actually make something out of this. That's my contribution, and I thank you very much. That's it.
I'm honored to be here, and actually, me and Thione, we go way back to 2004 or 2005. Yeah, way before. And since then, I've seen you have achieved a lot, and you've inspired a lot of young folks. And congratulations on that. You have done an amazing job. And but actually, when you're talking about some of the issues in that we see in Senegal or in Africa in general, I could relate to a lot of the frustration that you're talking about. And but we usually point to the leaders. And actually, I think that's erroneous. I mean, they are part of the problem, but we are part of the problem. And when I say we, as like, for example, in Senegal, I mean, like you said earlier, there were days where I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Why did I leave all that I left behind to come and deal? And sometimes I would say with these people, not even consider them as mine. Exactly. It's just because you get so frustrated. You're walled in to everywhere you want to go. People who can make things go forward will actually block you. But it's like a constant fight every day. But so my question is, and for me as an entrepreneur, now we have about 84 employees. At one point we had more than that at Seneweb. My biggest problem is work culture in Senegal. They don't have it. That's the problem. Usually they fight and say, in the media, you see them, like, for example, I give the example of Auchan. When Auchan was coming in, everybody was against it. I was like, yes, we want Auchan, because if you have, if you have been in the American system, competition is good for the buyers. And the result, a few years later, look at what happened. Auchan is doing well. It's cheaper than the local market. They don't raise the price when some of the stuff are scarce. They don't sell you outdated products. It's good. The thing is, we need to talk a lot more to our people.
Yes.
We really need to do that. So they can be honest. We need more honesty, And when it comes to labor, now that comes my question. My biggest challenge is the labor code. The labor code. You want to have someone come in as an intern, and as you start in something new, you want everybody to come in and experience it. 6 months later or a year, they say, oh, well, he's automatically CDI. And as soon as they're CDI, they'll sit home and say, you cannot fire me, you fire me, you gotta. That is a major problem. Yesterday I told Cheikh Bahoum, le Code du Travail in Senegal, the labor laws, I say, if I were you guys, I'll burn that whole book and restart from zero, because that's so I want to know how, my question is, you've dealt with few startups and things like that. How were you able to deal with that, and what was your experience with that, and how you faced your challenges, and how did you solve some of the problem? Because that's my biggest.
Welcome to the world, brother. Salam, thank you. That's a very important question. I think all of us are dealing with. We have a different relationship with work. That's why, brother, I invest a lot in education and training. Because we got to go to the root of it first. How do we come this way? Where people, they don't have the skills, but then they'll go to university and they'll study for 4 or 5 years. When they have a degree now, is the biggest problem. They have such an ego that I have a PhD in economics or an MBA, but they can't build nothing. But you ain't gonna pay me less than this amount of money, and you cannot talk to them to deliver. And when you give them an opportunity, in 2 days, they'll become your main competition. I'm sure you dealt with that. You bring young people, you train them, they create a website similar as yours. The same thing tomorrow is like, so there's no, why do we come to that? It's because of, first of all, it's this. I said it recently in an interview in Senegal on This TV. To me, we have to clearly burn this syllabus that we have for our educational system. We have to revolutionize our educational system. Because we're all studying until right now, since what colonization has left us. The world has moved on to so many different things after this. Now into revolution, there's technology revolution. And we're not investing in science and technology. And then before science of technology, to me, we also have to invest in the workforce, the skills that we need to build the country. There's smallest things that people need that you cannot find in the country. A mason. In the village where I live, in Sendu, you've been there, Salam. I actually owe you a visit. So, in Sendu, as you see, it's all construction. Every day is a new building. But to build my house or to build my women's center, I have every day myself to drive my car to Jamnyajo, begging young people to come and work. Trust me, wallah. You cannot find one. And then the ones when they have I'm the benn boy mason talk for. Then you go take that mason to come. He ain't learned that shit. That excuse me, mama.
It got real. It got real. It got real.
I tried not to, man. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, my man, y'all gotta cut that one, eh? I get frustrated when I talk about this thing. Salam, it's hard. Yo, the mason gonna come. He's supposed to be make 3 meters. He gonna make 3.5 meters. And then after 6 months, you pay him the money. The building is doing this. So when I saw that, I said, what we need is we need to build technical skills. Schools that can teach these young people skills in 6-7 months, not too long. So they can automatically start working with professionalism. So what I propose for the country, I say, if I was the president of Senegal, I would send all of our kids to the army. 1 year training, and the army will help us to discipline our young people. That's one thing. Second, to teach them about civism. Everybody is proud to be an American. We teach them values. The third thing is patriotism. But the third thing is we build technical skills in the army. Before you come out, you learn, we say, okay, the country needs this amount of young people in plumbery. We're going to tell you in the army, you ain't got no choice, brother. You're going to be a plumber. And we're going to teach you that in 6 months. The other ones in menuiserie, building roads, technical skills like cybersecurity. Cybersecurity in my school in cybersecurity is very simple. In 6-7 months, you can have a certificate to do first level. AI, all these things the army can help us so when they come out, they can fill in the jobs. Because there's jobs in the country. Too many jobs in Senegal. But there's no skills. This is why what I did when I first came, all I built is centers in schools. In Sali, I built a school called Give One Project Digital Skills Academy. There, it's been this past 8 years, all we're teaching young people cybersecurity, AI, data, and the diaspora is helping me a lot. Most of the teachers are coming from the US, Canada, and France. They wake up in the morning to teach these kids for me for free. Because I give them scholarships, they're housed, they're fed. In return, the diaspora helped me to teach them. It's until 2 months ago that the UNDP came to me to say, you know what you're doing is important, we want to come and help. Now we're going to do a project for 25,000 young people, but all West Africa and Central Africa. We just started our first class in Senegal. They are in Sali right now. But everything else, I have to fund it. Thank you. For the technical part, for the digital, that's what I've been doing. We are in the 47th promotion. In farming, the same thing. When I started farming, I said young people needed, some of them are farming, but because my father was a farmer, I'm going to be a farmer. But they don't know the technicals, the stuff. I said, okay, during COVID, I built an institute inside the farm. Yesterday, the 60th class, 60th promotion, more than 5,000 young people from around the diaspora. We have somebody here who came from the young brother who came for JEUF Zone from Atlanta, I think. Left, we can see you too. Yeah, he came to study at Mass Farm, and I met him here because when he was in that promo, I was traveling. In Sendu, I've built a house that I gave to women, because to me, we cannot develop Africa if we're serious. if we don't put women where they belong, which is the core, the heart of our economy. Especially those young people, young women who didn't go to school, like my mother at elementary school, her teacher saw her and married her. It's my father who married my mom at 15. So she never went to school. Well, I was just talking to her about it the other day when she came to visit. And I was reminded her how she always told me, I wish I finished my school. Because all of my friends and my father's other wives, they had jobs, but she never had a job. And it was killing her inside. And I saw it, you know, and she was like, I wish I finished my school because I can never work. I said, don't worry, you're going to have a salary when I grow up. But it's just to say a lot of women in my country today will never have an opportunity. They always wait for the baby to be born, to grow up 25 years later to take care of them. It's very tough for women there. And to change that, I said, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to build a center only for women. 24 hours open. They all have scholarships, house, fed, everything. They come from all over the country. It's there in Sendou. And I went to Belgium with some partners. I brought a lot of machines. We teach them about tailoring. They're learning skills about makeup, food processing, financial literacy. And the result we've gotten, 89% of them now have their own companies working, selling. That's what the president saw, and he said, okay, I can help. And they gave them loans. 400 women this past 3 months. Everybody got $250,000, $500. But they are replicating that all over the nation. And to me, these kind of work skills, if we can do it bigger in the nation, then we won't have the problem that you have, the problem that I have of workers. Bro, every single day, my biggest problem in Senegal is workforce. You train young people, they come, they don't respect the work. And I'm trying to teach them in leadership. In all of my classes, there's leadership in there. That work is about dignity. It's not about the money. The money is important, but it's about your dignity. And this we have to incorporate in every school in our country, from the elementary school up. You got Americans. The other day I took my son to Chicago to go to university. He's 18. We went to Loyola University. I said, okay, now I'm worried about my pocket. God, these kids cost me some money. I said, okay, let's go to Walmart so I can buy all these things. He said, no, don't worry about that. I said, why? He said, oh, I got it. I got $8,200 in my account. I'm going to do the rest. You just pay for the school. The rest, I got it. I'm like, whoa. Where you get the money from, son? I'm happy about this, though. He said, you remember, since I was 15, I was working at McDonald's. And I was working on catering with my friends. Every money I had, I put it in my bank account. I used some for gas, but I was saving this day to go to college. I said, if I'm able to do this to every Senegalese kid, at 44 years old, they're like, man, some grand you know what I'm saying? You'll be 40 years old living in your father's house and depending on somebody else. And then you're going to give somebody a job. I know, Salam, you deal with this. They get their salaries, but then if Magal comes, they're going to go. If Gamma comes, they're going to go. And when they go, you have to call them to come back to work. Then, if their wife's got a baby, they're going to come tell you, hey, man, my wife got a baby yesterday. That means you're going to buy the sheep. So you're dealing with so much, and you cannot say no. So, bro, all of these things is to say, to finalize on that question, we have to invest massively in training and education. And that only government can do it. Thank you very much. We take couple more.
As I said,
Yeah.
I told you guys, he doesn't answer simply. So I'm sure...
Because these questions are not simple.
He answered some of y'all's questions, I'm sure.
Right.
But please, the mic on the right side, and ladies first.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, please, allow us. In second row, yes, that beautiful lady over there.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatou Soukan. I'm very special because I did not do my education abroad. I did not have any international background. I do everything in Senegal. So actually, I'm the CEO of Expresso Senegal, which is a telecom company. I mean,
Is it owned by Senegalese?
It's owned by African, Sudanese,
Okay.
based in Khartoum. Okay, having operation in Senegal and in Mauritania, and having also an operation in Dubai.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I mean, I think we already touched the point. The thing is about values, about culture, about mindset, and self-confidence. What is happening in our countries is very sad, and as you said, we all have our role to play. But just to make it short, for me, there is something that we can do from ourselves, not from the government side, because it's another step. Maybe we'll get there soon. But in terms of contents, the contents that we're delivering to our people. When I talk about content, I'm talking about media contents, I'm talking about social network contents. Actually, we're talking about something very important in terms of education, you know, soft skills, teaching our kids about IT, digital. How can we leverage that? How can we promote the right contents to our people, especially to our kids? I'm very concerned because actually when you look at Senegal, we have 123% mobile penetration. When I'm talking about mobile penetration, is people holding a SIM card, you know, going into WhatsApp, Snapchat, TikTok, looking funny things, do funny things. Nothing helping them to learn or to behave right based on our values, because we do have values. Either we are Muslim or Christian, we do have values. And part of those values is work, is doing the job properly at time. And the other point that has mentioned Salam is about the labor code. It's super protective for the employees. So they just, you know, they are in their comfort zone. They don't care. Even though the company is paying their salary, they don't care. I had my personal experience because working from this company last year, we went through a social crisis. But it just, opened your eyes on things that we need to change. And it's all about mindset, again, in the education of our kids. And it starts in our home also, in our houses, because we're part of it. We have to teach to our kids the culture of dignity, as you said, the culture of doing the job, even though you have your boss around or not. You don't have to, you have to have this kind of, I don't know how to express it, this kind of personal, passion to make things happen, and in a proper way. Yeah, so this is what I was wanting. I'm a bit passionate, but I believe that the next generation of Africa, especially Senegal, will drive things. Inshallah.
Bravo, good job.
I have a very difficult task. I'm sorry, because we have the remainder of the program. I'm really sorry. I'm just, I know that all of you want to go on with this super exciting and very profound, in fact, discussion. But that would be, but we'll take one last question after that.
Yes.
Give it to the sister there.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kine Jahate. I work for the U.S. Embassy in Senegal. We have the same target audience, which is youth and underserved populations. And throughout my work, I've met many youth who always talk about your work, who have been trained in your spaces and through the Give On project. So congratulations. My question is, now that you have, implemented so many great things in Senegal, you've settled, you've trained people, what is next in the next 5 or 10 years toward those youth? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what's next in terms of the young people is what I'm so proud to see. To see Ayu and Momo and Basiru and so many of them in Senegal creating jobs, added value for the country. Also, being able to do things for themselves in their country. And the same in France, everywhere else that I've worked with young people to see that. In terms of the work, I would like to see this kind of work that we're doing, and many are doing it. Most of you are here, are doing some things even bigger than what I'm doing. So what I want to see is how we can bring all those forces together to finally bring, to create a paradigm shift for our country. And this is a calling of our generation that we cannot fail to answer. You know, every generation will have somewhere to pause, to ask the most pressing issues of its time, to ask of what is it that I will leave behind, to ask of what is it that I will give to the next generation. And this, my friends, is the time now to answer to that question. And what we need to do, we all know it. And it cannot be done, and I repeat it all the time, by one or two people. We have two choices. And the first choice we got is to watch everything that's going on at home and be content. And if we're not content, we can just be spectators and watch things happen. Then we'll have an opinion in the coffee shops, in the dinners, or in the travels like us, and to talk about what's going on at home. And after the conversation, we can just go back to our daily lives until the day we check out of here. Yàlla na yéex. Boobu mooy bu njëkk bi. And I know that our founding fathers, like those who fought to bring us independence, if they did the first one, if they choose to be spectators, me and you wouldn't be here. In this great country that we are in the United States, after the Jim Crow laws, then we had the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement had to push the limits a little further down against the system. It cost some their lives, it cost some their comforts, like Dr. King's and Malcolm's and etc. But we lived to see the mountaintop that Dr. King promised, even though he knew he wouldn't be here to witness it. Because if they didn't push the limit, we wouldn't be in this room here. Because when they called for the civil rights leaders and the movement to come and answer to that call that he had, that speech in I Have a Dream in Washington, black people were sleeping in their vehicles, in their cars. Because Washington didn't have hotels for people who look like me. We're sitting in Marriott downtown right here. Oh no, if it was a few days ago, we can sleep here. People traveled from Alabama to Atlanta to Chicago, everywhere, to come to Washington to hear Dr. King deliver the I Have a Dream speech. Because they didn't go there because Dr. King is a handsome or have a... No, because what he was talking about was moving their soul. They shared something, which is the hope, the promising land, that one day, this common goal that we have to make our children sit in the same table, we will be able to deliver it for the generation to come. This is the reason why they answered. With the sacrifice that some didn't even make it to Washington because they were killed on the way coming. But guess what? That dream became a reality. That a son of Senegal, a son of Dakar, a son of Kaolack, a son of Rufisque, a son of... were able to benefit from a dream from a young kid from Alabama. We're all dreaming here, taking care of our homes because of a dream of a one person. But of common people who work to make that dream a reality though. Now what are we going to do with that? Because Americans here, we say, whom much is given, much is required. Now the time has come that home needs us. Not on the talks, but on JEUF. Because the talk, everybody can do it. That's the easiest way. We're capital of talks in Africa. Senegal is the #1 country in the world in talks. But when you call people to JEUF, everybody got something else to do. And this is a very historic moment that we cannot miss, my friends. A time wouldn't come again that this is what Allah has created in the political spectrum of our country to be this way again in our generation. I already know it. And I know you know that. Now let's go to the second choice we have. What is the second choice we have? Is to organize. Here, they organized. Here, when we knew Bush was creating all these wars for us and we were tired of all this stuff, we organized young people in this country. Now my son, Elijah, who's born here, can tell me too, or Imani, I can be president too, because we made that a reality. 2 years of sacrifice, 2007, 2008, and we did it again. Now home, we need to bring that home at home. But I can't do it myself, man. If that's what you want to ask me. Because a lot of people are telling me, yeah, you know, because you got the profile, you got to run for president, etc. I'm not running for president. Oh, no. We have to run for president. If there is a we, not me, then we can create the hope of Africa from Senegal. I already know from Senegal we can ignite the light that will bring hope for our continent. I know if we're able to bring together our forces from Senegal, we can run a campaign that can change the continent and give respect for the rest of the world. I know that. But if you're waiting for me to just say, okay, I'm the best, let me run the country, I'm not going to do that. You know, because Senegal, what they will do, they'll push you to go to run for something, and everybody sit in the back and wait for the omelette or the chebujan to finish. No, we're gonna go to the farms together. We're going to farm together, and we're going to harvest together, and we're going to eat together. If that's not happening, I want my comfort too. Because running for president, it means that everything you're working for are going to be at stop. And I love the projects I'm doing with the women. I love the project I'm doing with young people. And all of that will have to take a pause. Because as you all know, in Senegal, we don't know how to build people. We know how to tear them down, boy. We ain't good at building people now. But we know how to tear you down. And if you go to this thing, that's what they're good at. But if we together here, in a small room, because the civil rights movement and all of the change that happened with the ANC and all around the world started with we few determined people who can organize building blocks and blocks, Calasan by Calasan, community by community, towns by towns, cities by cities. We will touch the continent, forget Senegal, in 1 year. And I know we can do that. If you are ready for the we, I'm ready. We can go and change that country. If you are ready to commit, that you can play your part, and if we all can play our part, the farmers can play their part. The technicians, the people who are in technology here can play their part. The people here who are the international organizations, like some of you, can play their part. The young people, our elders, the knowledge that you guys have, we bring that together with those young people on the ground. We can change the spectrum for our country. And I hope we'll be able to do that. If not, a few years from now, another generation will look at us like, man, they had the opportunity to change the continent, and they ain't do nothing. Because what's going to happen is those professional politicians, we're going to take over the country again. And you're going to come back home looking for opportunities, and they'll continue to block you. And these professional politicians, when they look at these French people, they look at them like they're gods. They just continue to give them the natural resources. And we're going to be complaining till we're old. Soon we're going to be 50 years old. And then you can't be traveling no more, and the back start hurting and stuff. Then you can't be doing too much. Then our children are going to grow up and look at us like, okay, it's Africa we know. We're just losers around the world. So this is what I wanted to bring to you and to say, let's go to work. It's not time to rest, man. It's not time to relax. We have 3, 4, 5 months to Senegal to change this continent. From Senegal. But if we sleep and let this 4 months think we don't have nothing to do, we don't have a part, we don't belong, on va pas participer, c'est pas notre truc. I'm not interested in politics. That's not my part. Bro, you're a part of the problem. And that's going to come to the content she's talking about, because those people insulting, saying negative stuff to people every day, going to take the content. And they're going to feed our children. Xoolal Sénégal aujourd'hui. If you're saying something negative, if I wake up today, I say, oh, Niang is saying some crazy stuff about Salam. Oh, it's going to be millions of views. But if you're saying, okay, we're training some people on cybersecurity, or Niang is talking about farming, they're going to like probably 2 views. You go to TikTok, that's why they're very good at titles. Hein? They do those titles that are crazy. Oh, cette personne a détruit cette personne. By tomorrow, it'll be 1 million views. That's messed up, man. Please help us to change this country. Let us join some hands and organize. From here tonight, we can change our continent. God bless you. God bless Senegal and Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Thione. Thank you.